Happy Thursday here on the Pro Press, and I hope that you have had an awesome week so far, and I'm here to just kind of bring you the practical side to what we've been talking about this week. So this week we started the kind of the discussion topic that we're going to be talking about this month, and that is stories. We're going to be looking at the Christmas story from different characters' perspectives. And so this week was all about Mary. And I know I have so appreciated everything that has been shared already up to this point. And so I'm just going to kind of bring you kind of a practical an application to some of the things that we've talked about already, and just from my own personal perspective. So Mary is one character in the Christmas story that I can always learn something from. You know, it seems like every year I have learned something new as I'm reading the Christmas story, whether it be a personality that comes out in a different way, or just another characteristic I realize, especially about Mary. And you know, things that we've already talked about this week are things like her willingness and her faithfulness and trust in God, and also her humility. That is a huge thing. I think that in a time when everyone feels like they are having to fight for attention, young or old, everyone kind of feels like they have to fight for that, to remain humble and just be God's servant in every situation. One thing that I have really been reminded of this year as I've been looking and thinking through the Christmas story is something that I can really relate with, about what I imagine Mary would be going through at this time. You know, I think that one thing in her heart that if she's anything like me, she would want is just to be justified in other people's eyes. You know, she obviously did not have very many good things being said about her, because I mean, what are people supposed to think whenever you're pregnant, not married? Okay, so people think things, people say things, and I can just imagine her praying kind of what David prayed in a lot of the Psalms. Is just saying, God, when are you going to defend me? When are you going to stand up for me? When are you going to show these people that I'm not crazy, that I'm not lying, that I'm not a horrible person, that I'm not an ungodly woman? When are you going to stand up for me? I can imagine that being in her heart, because, nobody knew what God had said to her. Nobody knew the history that was in the making during those 9 months, except for one person, and that's Elizabeth. You know, I think in our lives, we need to be sure we have some Elizabeths, women who know what God has said to us, whether it be because they know, they're close to God and they pray for us and they hear God's heart on it, or they hear our perspective and our explanation of what we feel like God's calling us and telling us and speaking to us. You know, we need Elizabeths in our life who can 100% support us, who know that it might not make sense to everyone, but they know and they support us because they know we are doing what God told us to do. And I can relate to this a lot, because there have been two specific instances in my life, points in my life, where I was in a situation where I was praying that same prayer. I was saying, God, when are you going to stand up for me? You know, it was both situations where I was taking the stand that I knew God had told me to do. I was doing and following what God told me to do, even though it wasn't popular, even though there was opposition, and even though it didn't make sense to everybody. I just had to stay faithful and say, you know what, God, you're gonna have to take care of this. I'm just gonna do what you've told me to do today, and tomorrow I'll do what you told me to do then. And eventually I'm gonna trust that you're gonna bring to light the reality of the situation. You know, they were situations where it seemed to the outsider that I was in the wrong, but I didn't want to waste my time, energy I didn't want to let pride take over and show people, hey, I'm the one in the right. I had to trust God that in His time, the things that had happened in the dark would be brought to light. And in both instances, I feel like they did. I feel like, I don't live for others' approval, but I feel like in my heart, just knowing that Jesus was there with me, just knowing that Jesus was saying, I'm pleased with you, you're doing what I've asked you to do, and because I've had Elizabeths in my life that said, you know what, I'm here with you. It might just be us two standing together, but you're not standing alone. I can't tell you how amazing that's been, that God has given me those kind of women in my life. Even today, I was kind of right now facing a situation not so extreme, but to a point where I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not going to try and prove myself. God, I'm going to do and obey what you've asked me to do. I'm going to just be who you've called me to be. And I just know that's going to be enough. And today, one of those Elizabeths in my life spoke encouragement to me and said, you know what? That's not who you are. That misconception that is going on about you, that's not who you are. Don't listen to what they're saying about you. Listen to what is true. Listen to what God says about you. And it was so good, again, to have that encouragement from a woman of God who knows my heart, who knows what God, from just watching my life, knows that I'm living out what God has called me to do, and am living out as the person God has called me to be. And so I just want to encourage you, maybe you're in a place where you're like, you know what, I feel like I'm doing what's right. I feel like I'm following you, Lord, but why doesn't everyone else realize I'm not crazy? I'm not doing things, marching to the beat of a different drum. I'm just being obedient. Whatever that situation might look for you, trust and know that God is going to bring it to light. That whenever God gives you His stamp of approval, you don't need anyone else's stamp of approval. And I encourage you to find that Elizabeth in your life and let them speak words of encouragement to you. There is no shame in going to that person and saying, listen, I just need you to confirm some things to me. Confirm to me that I'm doing the right thing. Confirm to me that I heard from the Lord on this. Confirm to me that I'm not alone in this. And if you don't have someone like that in your life, message us. Reach out to us, because we want to be that for you. We want to be women who stand with you as you take a stand for Christ in your life. So that's what I wanted to share with you today about kind of my perception of Mary and what it's speaking into my life this year through the Christmas story. We hope you can continue to be a part of every week as we're talking about a different character. Comment below. Reach out to us. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you're at. We're there. So let us know what you think. How is the Christmas story speaking to you this year? Let us know about it below, and we will talk with you soon.